We're back to the Neil Haley Show on the Total Celebrity segment. And when I talk about this show, and I've had a lot of the participants on the show, two of them, and I really, really love Happy Days. But when you talk about the most iconic figure, you have to talk about Marion Ross, or Mrs. C. So I'm excited to welcome the program Marion Ross. You're the author of My Days, Happy and Otherwise. Marion, thanks for calling. How are you?
I'm so well. Isn't that nice?
Hey, it's great. You were just telling...
I'm so grown up now.
Yeah, but your voice hasn't changed. You definitely sound like the person that we've watched for so many years. I have talked to a few people from Happy Days, and when they told me what they learned from being on the show that they took the rest of their lives. Do you have a story as well, Marion, how that experience on Happy Days shaped the rest of your life in certain ways?
Well, it certainly set us up financially, didn't it? And then now we were known everywhere we went, and we also learned to work together. You know, you really learned. It's a wonderful experience to work so closely every day with the same actors because they were a family. We were a family, and you learn to give and take. You know.
Are you blown away the success of a lot of them after Happy Days in certain ways where they moved on to and how they, really did well for themselves?
I think everybody's handled themselves very well. Our poor Erin was the only, she was our tragedy, but everybody else has led their life very well. Isn't that nice? Yeah.
Absolutely. And now it took you some time, Marion, to write your memoir. Why did you write the memoir?
Well, I certainly didn't want to do it, but my son brought this fellow, David Laurel, to my house. He said, you're going to write your book, Mother. I said, no, I'm not. So they tied me up to a chair, and the next thing I know, we're doing this thing. But do you know who my son is? My son is an actor.
Really?
And he, in a commercial for Geico, he plays George Washington being dragged across the freeway on his boat. Have you seen that commercial?
Yes, I have. Oh, my gosh. Okay. So
that's my son, Jim. Yeah.
So why did he want you to tell the story? If he dragged you, he kind of dragged you on a boat to write your book in certain ways. So what made you, because he said, you're going to write this, Mom. So what made you want to, the process of writing this after what was his whole reasoning for you finally to write a memoir?
Well, it was easy because David Laurel came to the house and he would record me, get me talking,
yes.
And then he would record it. Now, that's a very good way to write a book, isn't it? I was not about to go by myself, and I don't know how to type, So I can't do that. So if you want to write your book, you get a writer to make you talk, and then he'll write it down.
Hey, that's the best thing. I agree. I would not. Whenever I do write my memoir, it's going to have to be Marion, where I'm recording it and someone's writing it afterwards, because I couldn't just sit down like those authors, Marion.
Are you alone when you're recording it?
I have not started that yet, but I want to. Yes.
Because I need an audience. I have to have an audience
to ask the right questions and to ask the right questions, right? About your memoir, meaning like to kind of lead those chapters and get you to share and tell stories. That's what it sounds like the whole book is about, stories of your life.
Yes, because, we're all full of stories, and we tell them many, many times to our friends and families. So to get them written down, I'm awfully happy that I have the book. The book is doing very nicely. Isn't that nice?
Oh, that's got to make you really feel good. And then when it finally comes off, you finally see it in the shelves in different places. So why the title Happy and Otherwise, bringing it up? What was the reason for that title?
Because otherwise, yes, I got divorced. And so that was a very tough period for me. From 40 to 50, it was tough for me. And also... Tom Bosley was tough on me because he wasn't keen on having me playing his wife. He wanted somebody more important, I think. So that was hard on me. But it's all worked out. It all worked out, and I called my house Happy Days Farm here, and I have everything. Isn't that nice? I have everything.
Exactly. So why did Tom not want you to be his wife, TV wife? What's the reasoning?
Well, he had come from Broadway, and he had won the Tony on Broadway for Fiorello, the music Fiorello, and I don't know. So just something about me. It took a long time for him to really like me. I don't know, because Tom is he was a really nice man, a very good man. So it was something I did. I don't know. But I tell people that, I don't mind.
So life after Happy Days, kind of tell us what you did, Marion, and you're doing now. I think that's because again, everyone needs to definitely pick up your book. But
well, I am retired now, but I did a series called Brooklyn Bridge, where I played a Jewish Polish grandmother for CBS, for Gary Goldberg, who did Family Ties.
Okay.
And I loved that role. I played Drew Carey's mother on his series.
Oh, yeah.
I've never stopped working. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, absolutely. So you like doing those guest appearances before you're retired, right? Getting those awesome opportunities to guest star or have a longer appearance. Did you think you were typecast in certain ways?
Yes, I just kept, and then I would always go off and do plays.
Oh, really? Yeah. And I saw SpongeBob SquarePants. I never would have thought that you were a voice for that. I never knew that. So these are the interesting things. Yeah.
They asked me to do that, and I had never done that before. So I find out that that's a very, very important little job that I had. Yeah.
Well, it seems like it for sure. It's cute, and you got to experience a lot of things now after Happy Days and in your acting career, where you did a lot of those things. And I think that's what you reminisce from your memoir, is that you really got to live a very exciting life in the entertainment business.
I was involved in many wonderful movies. And, I don't know if you've ever heard of Noel Coward. Many people in the theater have. He was an very, very famous English actor. So I did, at CBS Live, we did his play Blythe Spirit with Claudette Colbert, Lauren Bacall, Noel Coward himself. That was a wonderful experience for me. And I've played, in my book, you'll see I have a picture with Cary Grant and one with
wow. It's tremendous.
It's with everybody,
And absolutely, Marion. And what's your ultimate goal for the book? What do you want people to learn from your life?
Oh, I just want to have fun with it. I have no great plans, It's wonderful to have it, and I will end up with a few in my closet, won't I? It'll be so nice. So it's just fun, and I'm now doing a lot of book signings, and people all line up, and it's fun, and I meet them. So I'm just having a good time with everything that I do.
So where are you doing your book signings? What area are you just staying in your area? Where are you? Where do you live? That's an interesting thing.
Well, I just came back from San Francisco, and then you know where I was? I was in Missouri, near Branson, and that was wonderful. And there was like about 300 people came. It was really nice. So I've been to New York City and to New Jersey, and to the Globe Theater in San Diego. They had a big event, and I just have a good time.
All right, so we can definitely purchase your book in all finer bookstores, and especially available on Amazon, My Days, Happy and Otherwise. And another question for you, Marion, is can we connect with you anywhere? Are you on social media? We're talking about, you're not able to travel to Pittsburgh to do the book signing, but are you on social media that people can connect with you and ask questions and stuff?
Not really, because I'm not. It's not my generation, all that. I don't like all that. I don't know how to do that. But I have an assistant who comes every day, and she gets things, So I don't know.
It's cool because guess what? People will Google you, wiki you, find you everywhere. And so many people have, and it's great to know how many fans you have, Marion, especially with the book and how they're coming out and telling you the stories that they learned from Happy Days. So I appreciate you coming on, Marion.
Yeah, it's so fun.
And thanks for coming on the show.
All
And
right.
best of luck with the
and
book. Yeah. Good, Marion.
Thank you so much, my darling.
Take care. See you later. Bye. You're listening to Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.
The Neil Haley Show on the Total Celebrity segment. And this guest, again, I'm going to have a conversation with him because that really goes back to my days as an educator owning a tutoring consulting company. And we had this conversation on one of my education shows last year when 13 Reasons Why really started to get a lot of momentum. And schools were talking about it. My daughter's school was talking about it, and I heard about it, and I had a long dialogue with some experts about it, but I'm excited to welcome to the program Christian Navarro of 13 Reasons Why. Christian, thanks for calling. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk with you.
Absolutely, Christian. Let's just jump into that, specifically enough. The process when I heard about, the show and how, it showed some graphic scenes, and it was really controversial in certain ways, but I ultimately believe it needs to be out there because of how much this topic's coming out there and how suicide is among us and sexual abuse, and we just kind of hide it in so many ways instead of talk about it, Christian.
Yeah, I think when we were working on the show, we wanted to present an opportunity for conversation so that from that conversation some change could happen, right? And that's exactly what's happened. People are talking about bullying. People are talking about sexual assault. I mean, 3 months into filming season 2, the Time's Up movement and the article damning Harvey Weinstein came out, and then the Me Too movement and the Time's Up movement. Both of these things, it's the perfect storm for this conversation to be at its peak, I think.
Absolutely. Again, we're talking to Christian Navarro, 13 Reasons Why. But what age group do you think kids should watch this show? Because what's happening is that's what I'm bringing this conversation, and we'll talk about the show. But again, as one of the cast members, having you on the show, what age do you think is the right age for kids, especially to watch it? In the teen years, you think, and up? What is your thought?
I think definitely high school. I think if you're any younger than that and you're watching with your parents and you have their consent, that's one thing. But I think the show is made for teenagers in high school and their parents to spark that conversation, like I said.
Absolutely. I agree, because that conversation needs to happen. It might even have to happen in middle school, but that's where parents really have to be involved with what's going on, because people could stream this or they could hear this from somebody, and then they never get that conversation. What I think it does, Christian, is it brings this conversation out. It shows really what's happening in schools, and for parents to really not ignore what's going on. Don't, watch their cell phones. Make sure who they're contacting with, because you never know what can happen.
Or just to ask questions and to really listen, at the root of it all. I was very fortunate to grow up with a father and mother who were very present in my life and always made sure to stay involved and stay informed. And I think the beginning of this sort of uncomfortability with the show is really to sort of leapfrog into growth, to force the conversation, and hopefully we've been doing that. I feel like we've received a lot of positive news from fans all over the world about it, so it's been very gratifying.
Exactly. Again, talking to Christian Navarro, 13 Reasons Why. Now I really want to get on to something, because I've been looking at all the different interviews and that have been out for 13 Reasons Why. Let's talk a little bit about your character, but also, Christian, can you give us a clue what's going to happen on season 2 starting Friday? Because, again, this picks up a lot of the pieces of what people have been just binge watching like crazy. But first, let's jump really quickly into your character and then see if I can get into a little bit of a clue what we should expect next season.
Sure. Tony, at the end of the first season, he's released tapes to Olivia Baker, Hannah's mom. So season 1 takes place a couple months after the action. Season season 2 takes place a couple of months after the action of season 1, and Olivia Baker is pursuing a trial, a court case against the school district. Coupled with that, you'll get to explore all of the characters' perspectives on the events in season 1. So, there are many sides to the truth. That's what we explore in season 2. And in regards to Tony, there's a whole lot of intrigue and mystery there, and I can't really give anything away about it other than to say we turn a lot of things on its head for every character, but particularly for Tony.
And Christian, because this is based on a book, is it going through the same storyline, or is it kind of expanding to it for people that have read the book?
It's definitely an expansion because the book, what we've done in the first season sort of covers the book completely, and expanding on it even further in that regard. So season 2 is really in the hands of a wonderful showrunner, Brian Yoki, and a really incredible writing staff, and I think they've done some really great stuff in expanding the universe, staying true to the original story and also building out of it,
How enthused are you about all the fans that watch the show? Especially thinking about probably years ago, you wouldn't think that Netflix would be your big break, and that how streaming has become such a big thing, and how you are like a household name, the show and yourself.
It's humbling, That's really the only thing I can say. I've wanted to be an actor and have acted in some regard for 10 years now, and to have this break with a streaming giant that's Netflix, that really provides such creative opportunities for people, it's humbling. And the fact that fans react to it and have a positive impact from the show, I think only adds to how incredible this is for me as an actor and an artist.
Exactly, and good luck for sure in season 2, Christian. But I think what we should expect is just a great show and a great cast, and you really enjoy working with them, don't you?
I love them. They're family. I can say this from the bottom of my heart. I think we're putting out a better product this year. I'm so excited for everyone to see, because what hasn't changed from season 1 to season 2 is how much we've all dedicated and put into the work. We all love it. It is a labor of love for us, and I'm so excited to give it to the world finally.
Awesome, Christian. Any other projects coming up? I know you have some other stuff coming up very soon that you can tell your fans.
I got a film in the fall coming out with Melissa McCarthy. I got a small role in a Melissa McCarthy film called Can You Ever Forgive Me? I'm excited for that. Other than that, I am stick in the middle of promoting season 2 and focusing on that. Hopefully some other opportunities will arise.
I think they will, especially if we continue to get great ratings. And I think that everyone in the media field, especially in the entertainment field, needs to watch out for these streaming services, Christian, because ultimately it's going to take over, and they have to figure out a way to compete with you guys, because everyone likes to binge watch. I talk to millennials all the time, Christian. Guess what they do? They binge watch one show. They don't spend time watching multiple shows. So everyone has to figure out, how can our show be worthwhile binging, right, Christian? That's the key thing.
Well, you know what? I think the great thing about that is that competition breeds a better quality product. So I think we will start seeing better and better TV and better filmmaking. And I think we're already seeing that. We're living in the sort of golden age of TV right now.
I completely agree. Where can we follow you on Twitter, Instagram, all those places, Christian? Where can we go?
Instagram is Christian Lee Navarro. I'm not too sure on the Twitter handle, but I'm on all those. And give a Google search, you'll find me.
Oh, you'll find yourself everywhere, Christian. Well, best of luck. I can't wait to catch up with the seasons, and good luck with season 2 and all your other ventures, Christian. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye. You're listening to The Neil Haley Show. We'll be back in just a moment.
We're back to the Neil Haley Show on the Total Celebrity segment, and oh, am I excited to have this guest on the program. Loved her in SNL. She's an actress and comedian, Vanessa Bayer. Vanessa, thanks for calling, and how are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Again, the weather's finally looking nice. We're finally looking like we're getting close to summer. And you've seen the weather and how it just kind of goes back and forth, rain and cold. I'm ready for summer for sure.
Yes, me too. Absolutely.
All right, Vanessa, big question. What do you think was your favorite moment with SNL on set and off set?
Oh my gosh. On set and off set. I feel like on set, I have a few. I got to do, God, there's so many. I really can't, I can't think of just one, but I got to do this one sketch that my friend Claire Mullaney wrote where it's when Paul Rudd was hosting, where the two of us are like, we're at a table, like going through our divorce proceedings, or we're with our divorce lawyers. And anytime this one song came on, it's like our song, and we started dancing. And it was just so fun and silly. That scene was very fun. But God, there's so many. When I got to do the Santa Baby video with Ryan Gosling, when I did the scene with Amy Schumer where we fell out of a plane. There's been so many. And then off camera, so many too. I don't honestly. When Fred and I used to do those best friend characters on Weekend Update, where we like sort of talk about someone behind their back, that started with Fred and I like being in the studio off camera, like during just like a rehearsal day, and we would be like talking about something, and we'd be like, "That was a pretty fun rehearsal yesterday," and then we'd be like, "Yeah, I did think like the scene like needs some work." Like we would do that, and that's how we came up with that.
How
Those
many
characters? So off camera, that was very yeah.
And how difficult was it to not laugh during certain skits that were so hilarious with some of the celebrities that came on or other cast members that you've worked with?
So hard. I'm so hard, but I'm a real rule follower. So like I would always feel like I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to laugh. I maybe have a record for like lasting the longest without breaking on camera. I made it through I was there 7 seasons. I made it through until the end of my 6th season, actually, when Fred Armisen hosted. He was doing this one character in this scene, and I just broke. It was the first time. I was trying to make it through my entire season, my entire career at SNL without laughing. And Fred he did something so funny at the end of my 6th season, the very last show of my 6th season, that I broke. And I maybe broke once or twice in my 7th season because, I'd already broken that run.
Again, we're talking to Vanessa Bayer on the Neil Haley Show. And, when I think about the last thing, I think that during the political season, when SNL really hit its peak again, you were always the straight-laced person that covered so many cool things involving the election skits, right? You were the kind of person that came on and were just bringing that kind of funny piece to it, I think, just basically because you're so straight-laced in certain ways in the way you, as a comedian.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, that was, there's always so much political stuff obviously happening in the country, and it's so amazing to get to cover it on SNL, especially because it's just viewed by so many people. So it's just very cool to sort of go into it knowing that the next Monday when people go into work, they're going to be talking about it.
Yeah, that's the funnest. That's the fun part for sure, and the water cooler conversations. Now let's talk about how you're partnering with M&M's and Red Nose Day to talk about what's going to happen on the 24th in Chicago and stuff. Talk about that, Vanessa.
Yeah, so Red Nose Day is May 24th, and there's going to be this telethon on NBC at 10/9 Central. And so, and also you can go to Walgreens and you can buy a red nose for $1, and you can hashtag noses on your social media. But basically what I'm doing is I'm working in partnership with M&M's, who gives over $1 million to Red Nose Day. This is the 4th year in a row that they've done that, actually, which is pretty amazing. And I worked in partnership with M&M's to put on this show at Second City for Red Nose Day, which basically, we worked with these local teenagers from Chicago, and taught them how to they did this comedy show, and we taught them how to sort of tell their stories in a funny and inspiring way. And it was just so powerful. We did the show last night, actually, at Second City here in Chicago, which is actually where I got my start. And so it was just so powerful to watch these kids go on stage and light up and tell their stories and, get all these laughs. And honestly, I was watching them from the side of the stage the whole time. And I hosted the show, but I would watch while they would, do their sets from the side of the stage, and they would walk off stage just on such a high and so excited. And it was very powerful to watch that happen. And, for me personally, comedy has been such a powerful thing to just get to see these kids be able to use comedy to sort of like tell their stories and have such a wonderful outlet for their stories was just like, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Well, it sounds like it. And have you had experience working with kids before, Vanessa? And especially in this kind of coaching, teaching type of atmosphere to really bring some of your comedian genius to them in certain ways. Have you ever had that opportunity before?
Yeah. You know, when I lived in Chicago, I did a little bit of coaching. I worked with kids a little bit. I also have spent several summers being an overnight camp counselor, which is kind of where my child actor character from SNL stems from. So I've gotten to work with kids, you know, in different capacities, but I feel like not in the last couple of years I haven't been able to do it as much. So it was just really cool to get to do it last night, and I worked with them a couple weeks ago to sort of answer any questions they had, and as they were preparing for the show to sort of help get them ready for last night. And I was blown away. They were so wonderful. They were really amazing.
And that's the great thing about it. And you're doing such a great work, again, for Red Nose Day in that area and stuff like that. And seeing these kids and what you're doing with M&Ms, it just feels great, right, to give back and help out for sure.
Yeah, it's been so fun, and you know, Red Nose Day it's such a great fun. You know, they obviously they give money to help children in poverty and make sure that they're educated and that they're safe and that they're healthy, and so it just feels so great to be able to give back and to do so through comedy, which is it's cool that Red Nose Day recognizes how powerful comedy is and what a great force it is. It's been wonderful.
So let's talk about, I hate to say this because I wish you're still on SNL, life after SNL. What's going on with Vanessa right now for our listeners and fans to see what's going on with Vanessa? What's coming up?
Oh, that's very nice. So I have a movie coming out on Netflix on May 25th, which is called Ibiza. And this is a movie that I shot in Europe, and it's about three women who go on this adventure in Europe, and I think people are going to really like it. It was a lot of fun. I'm starting to see like press there's like starting to be like some billboards and stuff, and whenever any of my friends see a billboard, I have them send it to me, which is, you know, very cool. But yeah, so I have this movie coming out at the end of the month, and just working on some other projects. But yeah, so, and getting some sleep, which I wasn't able to do much of at SNL, although I did love it.
Are you going on comedy tours as well, Vanessa? Getting those opportunities to get back on stage and stuff, for sure, after all those years in SNL?
Yeah, so I've been doing some colleges and stuff like that. Yeah, I've been doing some shows and stuff like that. So yeah, just kind of figuring out what the next, if I'm going to do TV or what the next thing I'm going to do is. But I'm very excited for this movie, Ibiza, which comes out at the end of the month.
Yes, and that's fantastic. Again, May 24th, Red Nose Day. Everyone go get their red noses at Walgreens. Isn't that correct?
Yes, at Walgreens, yes.
Awesome. And then also, Vanessa, where can people follow you, find info on you? Where's the best place? Twitter, Instagram, where do you like to send people?
I'm mostly on Twitter and Instagram. I'm not on Facebook anymore because I stopped using it, and then when I tried to use it again, I kind of forgot to do. I'm not great with social media in terms of technology. How do you use it? But Twitter and Instagram are great.
All right, and I
think it's just name.
Yeah, just your name. Awesome. Well, Vanessa, best of luck. Again, loved you on SNL. And again, let's hope you have that great success like so many of the SNL alums when they go on and do movies, to have that continued growth and success for you. So I appreciate you calling, and best of luck.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye-bye. You're listening to Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment. We're back, the Neil Haley Show, on the Total Celebrity segment. And when I talk about this country music legend and it comes up for holidays for the United States, there's only one man that we could talk about like that. So excited to welcome the program, country music legend, Grammy Award winner, Lee Greenwood. Lee, thanks for calling. And this holiday, Memorial Day, the 4th of July, anytime when we are in major battles or have had real strife, your song is played, Lee, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and I'm called on to do that, and I accept that role proudly. I never envisioned, I don't believe, when I wrote God Bless the USA back in 1983, that I would ever have this kind of role to play. I mean, like all other country performers who tour all year long We bring happiness and excitement to fans who want to come to events. It's my usual MO when I get on stage to entertain an audience. But the one song, and of course my album in 1992, American Patriot, drew me into the forefront to inspire America in some way. And yes, you're right. Every Memorial Day, we remember those who have fought bravely, and we've left around the world with American blood and different soil. 4th of July, we celebrate the independence of America. Of course, Veterans Day, we celebrate those men and women who have served, who are still living. It's all part of that.
And Lee, kind of tell us how you wrote this song, because I'm sure that our listeners want to know what inspired you in 1983 to write this.
I was signed at MCA Records with Reba McEntire, George Strait, Oak Ridge Boys, and Barbara Mandrell, all in the same years, within about 2 or 3 years, and we were all touring very heavily, which we still do, but not like that. That was crazy.
Right.
And so it was very hard to be home for several things. Number one, change wardrobe. Number two, be able to get into the studio to do any demo recording. Number three, to write material at all. So I had a piano in the back of my bus, and I wrote a lot of music during my first 4 or 5 years that would appear on most of my CDs, or albums as we called them those days. And we had to turn out 2 albums a year. So it was like really tough, trying to keep up. But I never lost the vision to write something for America. And I'd had that since I was like a teenager. And the years in Las Vegas, Nevada, maybe isolated from the rest of the world a little bit, because there's a bubble over that city. But I always kept my eyes focused on the future and focused on outside of Nevada. And USA, one day I'm riding in my bus somewhere, and I'd written several songs already for 2 of the albums, Somebody's Gonna Love You and You Got a Good Love Coming, and which were both hit albums. And I said, maybe it's time I write the song about America. And I'm not sure what inspired me to begin to do that evening after a show, but just plugged in my headphones and put the piano on my lap like I always did, and was inspired to write USA. I didn't quite finish it that evening, but almost. I got home the next day, and Jerry Crutchfield, my producer, and I talked about how to finish the song, and it certainly wasn't in the direction of any of the other songs I'd ever recorded or had the public buy and get on the charts, but it was something very different. But he said, if you want to do this, he said, I'm all in for you.
And you never thought it would be this large and this huge, where, again, after you go on and pass on, and other generations, this song will still be played. That's just something.
Well, not only that, Neil.
Yeah, for sure.
But it wasn't even scheduled for a release. I mean, I had no intention of ever having this song be a charted radio single.
Oh, my.
It was very different from the rest of the music I'd been recording. I was like known as the crooner. I'm like the Conway Twitty of my generation. And all the ballads like Kenny Rogers that I had. I even wrote Kenny a hit song called The Love Song, because I loved the emotional interest from romantic songs. And then suddenly USA was noted as a single from that album that year, and boy, it just took off.
It definitely did, and like I said, it's going to be remembered forever, and it's been played so many times in so many different events, from the smallest event to the largest event, Lee. And especially think about 9/11 and how that song was played and different things, and you just say, wow. What do you think about when you hear this song played or when you sing it? What are you thinking about?
If you remember the motion picture, The Gladiator, the old Gladiator talks to Russell Crowe, the new Gladiator, and he gives him some armor and something famous he had worn when he was younger. And he said, remember this, win the crowd, you win your freedom. That was always stuck in my mind whenever I do a live show anywhere, whether it's a sports event for thousands and thousands of fans, an intimate setting where I am performing maybe just for 100 people, or a packed theater. We do a lot of the Lee Greenwood evening shows, and their subscription, and people come to see a variety of artists, Gladys Knight, whoever it might be. And so I always remember when I go on stage and I sing whatever song I sing during the show, it is for the benefit and the entertainment of the audience. And when I get to God Bless the USA, I just don't do the one song. I do 2 or 3 to tribute America. because I think it's not just about that.
Right.
It's more about the feeling of patriotism and how it raises the feeling of pride in everybody in my audience. And so USA is generally the payoff. It's like, this is what I wrote. You know, I'll sing you a couple of the songs that I didn't write, but this is what I wrote, and about my own country. And it's a big moment.
It's definitely a big moment. And the last 2 weeks have been big moments leading up to Memorial Day. Tell us what you did last week and then what's coming up this week to cap it all off.
Yeah, we had a couple of shows on the road last week, but they weren't anything like what's coming this week. Of course, I'll be performing on the deck of the aircraft carrier Intrepid in New York for Fox and Friends, which is on the 25th. And then I'm going to Fort Lauderdale and have a show on the beach. The next day I'm the Coca-Cola 600, the NASCAR race in Charlotte. So a couple of times you'll see me on national television, but I also will be performing several times coming up at different events across the country. And so there's just a numerous places where I can honor the veterans during this Memorial Day.
And again, every big U.S. holiday, this happens to you, Lee. And another thing I was really interested in seeing is that you have a children's book out, Proud to be American, to be an American. That's interesting too. Did you ever think you'd venture into that?
Well, we had a previous book called Does God Still Bless the USA? It was a question about America and who we are as a country. During my father's years in the Navy and the Merchant Marine, I mean, those songs like God Bless America, America the Beautiful were the things that he clung to and they needed for spirit. So God Bless USA is now this next generation of music that represents the patriotism in our country. And every time we come to one of those holidays, whether it's the 4th of July or Veterans Day or Memorial Day, as this weekend coming up, it's the song everybody turns to. And I will be singing it live on television several times and at venues across the country. So it's just it's my way of giving back.
That's fantastic, Lee. So the best place we can find information on you, any other projects you'd like to promote right now for our listeners, but also the best place we can find info?
Well, in addition to the book, Proud to be an American, which is actually the lyrics of my song in a childlike form, a children illustrated book, you can go to my website, leegreenwood.com, and find a variety of things that represent my career. And, of course, over the 4th of July weekend, as we approach that, I'll be all over the West Coast, including 4th of July in San Diego, Grand Marshal of the Parade, and a show at the fair that night. So just check our website, and you'll see the things that maybe you can pick up to honor these holidays.
So, Lee, is the 4th the biggest holiday for you for touring, or is it all depend out of all the ones we were talking about?
I think the focus for people who follow my career would assume that the 4th of July appearance would be the premier performance of the year. That won't be televised, however. I think the focus on Fox kicking off the summer series for Fox and Friends in New York is probably the biggest one I'll do during the year, and it brings to mind the events we've done previously in New York on the 4th of July and Memorial Day for Fox, and proud to be there.
Well, I'm proud to be an American. You're proud to be an American, and I really appreciate you coming on to tell the story because really we need to know why you wrote this and how passionate you are and how you'll continue to carry that flag everywhere you go, Lee. So thanks again for calling.
You're so welcome, Neil. Thank you, and you have a great Memorial Day weekend.
You too, Lee. Take care. Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. You're listening to The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment. We're back, The Neil Haley Show, in the Total Celebrity segment. And what my dream was, and I remember this, especially when Dancing with the Stars started to become big time, I said, I really want one of the dancers from Dancing with the Stars on the show. And she was my first, and I have interviewed the celebrity dancers and everyone since then, but I'm excited to welcome the program from Dancing with the Stars, Sharna Burgess. Sharna, thanks for calling, and you got to be so blown away in how many seasons you've been on the show and how it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, this show is definitely a phenomenon. I don't think anyone could have predicted 26 seasons ago that it was going to get to this point and still be going so strong. It's still one of the number one shows on television, certainly on the ABC network. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of it, and so grateful to be back on your show.
Absolutely, Sharna. And you think about how it's taken dancing to a next level, that everyone wants to be part of this. I was part of this one fundraiser where they were doing dancing, and just everyone is so interested in this, and it really kind of is brought dance back, and meaning forms of dance. And I think that's just fabulous that it's happened, because I think now guys see this as masculine. And I think this show has just done so much to change your profession in so many ways. The appearance of it.
It absolutely has. I mean, look, for example, you have people like Joshua Norman, one of the best cornerbacks in the league, out there dancing with me. And I think it shows that dance isn't a feminine thing. It's not just for girls. It's not anything. It's just a lot of fun. And it's a great way to get up and moving, learn something different, learn about yourself, get confidence with your body. And it's just good for the heart and soul. And what's something I love is that Dancing with the Stars is a big part of putting dance back on the map and in the living rooms of everybody sitting at home watching, and inspiring people to get up, to get moving, to get fit, to get, the confidence to go and take that class that they want to. And so it's become so much more than just a dance show for people. And I love being a part of that.
And definitely, and that's the excitement of how it continues to grow and develop, and how you're recognized everywhere, and not just the celebrity dancer. Now, when you first started working out with Josh, you think about, again, his position, and there's a lot of footwork. Did he have that ability to start with when you started training him? Because you're the teacher. You're the one that says, okay, I get this celebrity, I sit down with them, I watch what they do. How was he right when you started working with him?
He was, from the word go, he was a great student, and he had really great footwork, but he also came with bad posture. So there's assets to being a superstar athlete and highly skilled, and then there's also the downfalls of things that I have to untrain out of him. But I will say that athletes as a whole, when we have them on the show, are just so exciting to teach for us, not because they're naturally rhythmical, because believe me, most of them aren't, but because they're so used to training their body to physically do something, to put it through grueling hours of physical activity and pushing it to do something it's not used to. And it's a very tough thing for us to push our bodies to do. And so athletes just have a knack for it.
See, that's interesting. They train so much, but they train so differently. Different muscles are used in dance, aren't they? That they first get their first workout and we're by just absolutely dancing, and then you tell them, hey, you better start training some of these things. And they probably look at you like, really? Because, again, they've been always told, this is how I train. Yeah. What muscles are different for, let's say, a football player when they try to go out and dance that they use? That would be interesting for me. Yeah.
Believe it or not, dancers use their ankles in completely different ways to football players. And Antonio Brown, who I danced with a couple of years ago, has even said to me that he felt his experience on Dancing with the Stars made him a better football player, because we worked so much on how to load as much power into your foot, even to the very tip of your big toe, and to consistently use that to make your stride longer or to make your stride stronger, which is what we do in dancing. We can load so much power into our big toe and be able to move from that. And it was a really interesting thing. He was fascinated by it and really took on all that information. And, I mean, we'll look at him. Look at him now and what he's doing on the field. He's absolutely phenomenal.
He is, and we're going to thank you, because Pittsburgh thanks you, Sharna. I was going to bring up Antonio, because that's the other thing when I thought, oh, my gosh, my first answer, that she ends up with Antonio Brown, our favorite player on the Steelers, one of our favorite players on the Steelers, and you really helped him in that way, because, again, he's had some big-time seasons since Dancing with the Stars. So there you go, Sharna. I think a lot of Pittsburgh fans need to vote for you again this year just because of what you did for Antonio.
Ah, that's so sweet. Well, thank you. It was absolutely my pleasure. I adore him. Still a good friend of mine. Recently just caught up with him. And you got to know, I might be dancing with someone from the Redskins, but I'll always be a Steeler girl.
I love it. I love it. And then you're going to tell Josh, I said that when you were probably doing the DC tour, you said the Redskins. Just kidding, Sharna. You're good in that way, for sure.
I'll again?
If you were doing a DC radio tour, you'd say, oh, Redskins never going to bring up the Steelers. But everyone loves the Steelers, Sharna, all over the country. Has that been a big thing, too? And I want to get right into this athlete part of the show this year where it's all athletes for the season. But how because you dance with Antonio, you see how many Steeler fans are across the country, aren't they, when you're traveling or all over the world, and they mention you just because of that reason.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I come across Steeler fans in LA, definitely in airports, and it's always wonderful to come across a fan of the show and that had the experience of watching Antonio grow that season. It really was a great moment. And, like I said, I'm not lying. I'm not making it up. I'm a Steeler girl. I was rooting for you guys last season, and I will be again this one.
Yes, so go ahead and vote for Sharna for sure. But what about the athlete point really quickly? What do you think of this season changing it up for all athletes? And so you're really looking at some competitive athletes of all ages in this season. Was it different when you first heard about this? And what do you think how it's developed with because they
Look, going into this 4-week athlete season, I think all of us, fans included, thought, oh, that'll be easier. You know, it's only 4 weeks. They'll be athletes. Surely that'll be, a pretty easy run. And let me tell you, it is absolutely not. It's probably one of the more difficult runs because we're doing double dances so early, when people that are non-dancers and have no dance experience really struggle with that. So it's longer hours already. It's more pressure already. My gosh, we're in week 3 and it's the semifinals. It's almost over. So it's been definitely a tough season to figure out how to create the journey and get improvement and create incredible content with not having as much time as you would like to get to that level. So it's been intense.
Well, Sharna, we got to vote for you, right? Especially all over the country. Vote for you.
That's
what do you
right.
What do you think are your chances, especially when you talk about the world-class athlete that you're dancing with? What do you think are your chances of winning this trophy?
Oh, listen, I think there's probably a good 4 or 5 people that have a great shot at winning it right now, and I think Josh is one of them. So it's all going to come down to who makes it through this next triple elimination, and then kind of who has the best freestyle.
All right, so everyone needs to tune in Monday nights to Dancing with the Stars and vote for Sharna. And we can follow you on all different social media platforms, right, Sharna?
Yep, that's right. You can follow me absolutely everywhere at Sharna Burgess.
Sharna, it was great catching up. Continued success with your brand and how you're becoming a superstar, just like the celebrities. I think the dancers are becoming more of the celebrities now, and it's great for dance, and it's great for the competitive urge of getting people in shape when our country needs to get in the best health possible. So thanks again for calling, Sharna.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Take care. Thanks. All right, bye.
You too. Bye.
You're listening to Neil Haley Show. We'll be back in just a moment.
You work all day, then go home and make dinner. That's not fair, because making your dinner, that's our job. We don't work all day, then go home and do your job, so stop doing ours. Head into Buffalo Wild Wings for America's favorite wings, shareables, burgers, and more. Choose from 21 signature sauces and seasonings to take your dinner from mild to wild. But don't worry, we're dinner pros. If things get too wild, we've got dozens of beers on tap and a full bar to bail out your palate. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
We're back, the Neil Haley Show in the Total Celebrity segment, and I just love this guest. And I always wanted to have a guest from The Office. And when it happened, we had such a great conversation about EIS abroad that we talked about The Office, all these different things, different projects we were talking about. I talked about also one of the big things I love is one of the shows that she was on as a school crossing guard. But I'm excited to welcome to the program actress Kate Flannery. We all remember her of Meredith from The Office. We're going to talk about her new Hulu comedy series, All Night. Kate, thanks for calling. How are you?
Hey, yeah, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So I want to jump right into this, Kate, and this is really interesting. I thought, you know what? I asked you almost every question I knew about The Office, and I said, I don't want to repeat myself. So I went to your fans. I have groups I join that I share all my content to based on the genre. And the Office addicts, I went and asked a question. What question would you ask Kate about The Office. And I got 40 or 50 comments, tons of likes. And I said, okay, I'm going to pick 2 questions. And the first one's really funny. That's kind of like a really thought-provoking one about The Office, but the other one is just like a general one. So let's go. Here's the question. Where do you see Meredith 5 years later if there was a documentary?
5 years, 4.5 years sober. No, I'm sorry, that's an old joke from The Office. I think not too different. I think maybe she has a real relationship with that guy she's dancing with at Dwight and Angela's wedding. That's a little something to look for if you watch the finale. But I think I feel like Meredith is really I don't think she struggles with like the next level of life, and also she was getting her PhD, so which we learned another thing in the finale. But I still think I still think she'd be drinking and partying for sure. I'm working at Dunder Mifflin as long as they'd have her.
It's just exactly if it still stayed open, right? Because what are paper companies now? Obsolete.
Right.
So who knows what that would happen? And that documentary would be a lot of fun. And here's a really just a funny question: did you really lick hand sanitizer?
I did, but they doctored it. It was not regular hand sanitizer. They made it with clear gelatin and club soda for the bubbles. So don't try this at home.
Well, again, we're talking to Kate Flannery. We all remember her, Meredith, from The Office, and we're talking about the new Hulu comedy series, All Night. So what I'm going to give a call to action, because we're going to share this in every Office group, is for all the fans of Kate to watch this show. So tell us about All Night. And I love your character because it goes back to my roots.
It's a high school comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Funny. I didn't know that. I play the principal of a high school. It's the day of their graduation, and they are locked in the school. It's their grad night, the grad night dance. They have to give up their phones, and they can't leave the school. If they leave, they can't get back in. And it's just the last night for these kids to kind of, hang out and bond before they go on to the next phase of their life. And I'm basically the human buzzkill. I'm Principal Saperstein.
Now, did you study
monitoring everybody and trying to?
Yeah, did you study principles to prepare for this character?
I have a lot of principles. No, I'm just kidding. I a little bit. I mean, I understand the insanity that goes in with in trying to control the uncontrollable and trying to just keep a lid on hormonal teenagers that don't want to listen to you. The writing was really good too. I have to say, it's really fun. A lot of the actors that play the high school kids are former Disney Channel actors and Nickelodeon actors.
Oh, right.
Allie Grant, who used to be Anna Gasteyer's daughter on Suburgatory, is one of the main kids. It's really well done. They're very talented, and the whole season takes place in one night.
Wow.
So I couldn't gain an ounce of weight. We had to keep looking the same.
Wow. See, that's so cool. I mean, I think that's really a cool idea because, in our high school years that we don't want to go on to what we're going to do in our lives next. And we love our friends and everything, but to take phones away from them. Oh my goodness. You can't take my phone ever away from me, Kate. And you're telling me you had to go ahead and do this for these kids. And so they really, I'm sure, responded well to that, didn't they?
Right. It was pretty tough. So there was a lot of, a lot of policing, a lot of monitoring, a lot of trying to, get people to just stick to the rules. And also, the thing about high school is that the stakes are so high. Everything's so important when you're in high school. It's, your heart gets broken. Whatever happens, like the highs are too high, the lows are too low. You don't forget anything. And I feel like that's the thing. If you're a kid, you'll love this. If you're not a kid, anybody that went to high school is going to relate to this on some level.
Again, we're talking to Kate Flannery of Hulu's comedy series All Night on the Neil Haley Show. And it's great to be part of these streaming services, I'm sure, Kate, because the fact is they're all really doing well. So it's definitely a great role for you to land.
People are binging.
for sure.
Yeah, I'm hearing from people that have already watched. They watched it immediately when it's just started streaming last week, so it hasn't even been a week that it's been available. So it's exciting, and I feel like this is such a new era because you can binge almost anything now, but you usually have to wait. That's the nice thing about Hulu and Netflix. You can just kind of dive right in.
Well, I'm going to come up with a crazy question. What if Meredith met the school crossing guard from American Housewife and the principal, you three together? How would that conversation go?
I see a fist fight. So those are three very different personalities. I will say I loved playing crossing guard Sandy with Katie Mixon on.
It was awesome.
On American Housewives. What a fun show. And there's talk that I might be back. I hope so.
I hope so too.
We'll see.
They keep saying you're in trouble. They keep saying you're in trouble, Kate. That's what they say in the show right now. That something happened to you.
They did. I know. I know. They mentioned I was out, and then Diedrich had to take my place for a while. Yeah, it's so funny. That's a really fun show, though. I love it. I did one episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm so excited that they're going to be on NBC. I played Mean Marge, the head of the sanitation department.
So put all those people together, Kate. 4 of them. What would happen then? A brawl would break out, right?
I think your TV would explode. Television, as we know it, would never be the same. It would be nuts. It's interesting because I feel like Meredith is one of those people that always makes a mess. She just makes a mess. And then I feel like Principal Saperstein is the one that, she cleans up messes. So I'm kind of playing the opposite.
All right. So here's the big thing, Kate, for people. People need to definitely tune into Hulu. Is there any other projects you're promoting right now, Kate, you want to bring up that are happening with you? Or just really...
Yeah, I'm touring with Jane. I'm going to be touring with Jane Lynch at Christmas time. We've been touring for the last 4 years. We did a Christmas album, and we're going to be doing a Christmas tour, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be in Pittsburgh this Christmas, probably early December. And we're also playing the Carlisle Hotel in New York City. So that's going to be a blast. So if you get a chance, Jane's the best. And our Christmas album, you can buy it now if you want. It's called A Swingin' Little Christmas, and it has 10 Christmas carols that we all grew up with, and then 5 original songs. And it's a blast. I also am on a new Cartoon Network show called OKKO. It's for kids. I play KO's mom. OKKO, Let's Be Heroes. That's what it's called. So that's been really, really fun. We've been doing it for a couple of years. It finally started airing this year. It takes a while for animation.
So, Kate, is there a chance we can get a television interview when you come into Pittsburgh? We'll have to reach out to your team and see that happens, where you and I can meet.
Yeah, maybe.
That'd be awesome. Or hopefully get to see the show for sure. So I'll definitely reach out to your team, but I appreciate it. Best place, again, we can follow you all social media channels and just go into your fan clubs because you have such huge fan clubs for sure, Kate. And I appreciate you coming on.
You're so sweet.
All right, take care. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Take care. Thanks again. I hope to see you in December.
All right, take care. Thanks, Kate. I hope so too. All right, see you later.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye. You listen to Neil Haley's show, and we'll be back in just a moment.